People deluded, I'm back again now. Tuchel at PSG, I can't lie, in my opinion, he's afforded decent opportunities to players, young players specifically. Now, it all depends how you look at that because how many chances or how feasible is it really for young players to get chances playing for a team where there's a lot of politics with the star players and obviously the carrot or what really keeps you your job there is how you do in the Champions League. In my opinion, I think Tuchel's a decent manager, but I do think it's not going to end well at PSG. I'm not a messiah. Hopefully, I'm wrong in that because I like him, but I can't see how it ends well. For instance, they just got knocked out of the French Cup. They kind of made a meal of qualifying out of the Champions League groups, and I just don't feel he's cut out for the PSG one. I think he's more suited to being at a club where it's more of a producing sort of thing. But yeah, he hasn't really given Yacine Adli chances. Well, he hasn't. He hasn't been involved in any capacity. He's given Insoki opportunities here and there. In what's my man's name, Okonkwo's been given opportunities. There's been a couple other young players here and there, Diaby as well, here and there getting opportunities. Adli hasn't been one of them, and it makes me wonder with Adli, like, does he allegedly his entourage and whatnot are kind of upset in regards to what appears to be backtracking over the summer because obviously if you know a number of clubs were chasing him, specifically us as well, and it looked like we ran the race. He was pictured in London, had a U-turn, signed a pro deal with the club. Now he's 18 years of age and he's playing for PSG. He still has to, no matter how good you are, you still have to. I always believe in patience. You still need to wait, and a lot of us fans, because we're not seeing in training all the time, I don't think at times we have an appreciation as to the level they need to get at. But at the same time, they need opportunities. And you look at a lot of kids around the world, 18-year-old teenagers around the world of recent years. How many opportunities, if he went somewhere else, would he get? I would have loved to have had him at Arsenal. He can play a number of midfield roles. He can actually be forced out wide, similar to what we used to do with Ramsey and Wilshere, but it's not his thing. I've actually seen him play there for France, but he's a wonderful player, man. Wonderful technical qualities, wonderful passing range, wonderful dribbler. I really think he could have grown into a creative spark in the midfield at Arsenal, and I do think he's more of what Unai Emery was potentially looking for from a creative spark, and he could have potentially been used in a midfield three in the same way you've seen Xhaka, Guendouzi and Torreira, but it wasn't meant to be. But he's 18 years of age. Guendouzi's a year older than him at 19 years of age, and obviously Guendouzi, formerly ironically of PSG, but he went to Lorient, and we can't underestimate that experience he got playing a couple of games in the second division in France, and a couple of actually in the first division in France the year before. We can't underestimate that, so that gave him a better platform for him to throw into the first team at Arsenal. It weren't a thing where we just took him out of an academy. But you look at his appearances, he's made, what, 26 appearances in all capacities at Arsenal. For someone who's made the jump, you wouldn't have thought that. And while I think it's too early probably for him to get into the France side, I would love him to do it, and probably not quite at that standard yet, to be spoken of as potentially being monitored by the Champs and the French people and the people that make them decisions, to be wanted by Morocco as well. Obviously he's of Moroccan heritage and they want him to play for them. For all of this in under a year or so is incredible for him. And you look at his 26 appearances to 18-year-olds, his 19 and 18-year-old Yacine Adli, he's made one appearance for at first team for PSG, which came last year. Now you can see why a lot of youngsters depart PSG, and PSG have a great academy and they'll keep producing players. I look at Claudio Gomez as well. He's gone Manchester City, and there's talk of him going on loan. To be honest, with Pep's record with youth at this moment in time, I couldn't understand that move in the sense that I get it. The opportunity to play for Manchester City, he's definitely going to improve as a player whether he makes it there or not, because he's playing under Pep, he's playing under different coaches, his Premier League and in London and all. I mean, not London, England and these things. I get why he made the move, but it was almost baffling. If he went to, like, I don't know, I don't think he would. I'm not going to say he'd be playing week in week out, but if he went to a Dortmund or ironically at Arsenal somewhere else, I think he'd be playing, because I think Claudio Gomez has a lot of potential. But I guess the point I'm getting at is just away from him, you're seeing a lot of players have to leave the club to get chances. But I'll be fair to PSG, I do think for a club that spends all of this money, of course they're not La Masia and it's not 7 or 8 players, but definitely when you compare them to the other big clubs or teams you say have invisible purse strings and things like that, there's a you can see an identity within the club. They've obviously got Areola, who's came through their academy. They've got Kim Bailey. There's a couple other youngsters on the cusp of the team. Rabiot looks to be departing the club, but there's also him. Obviously he actually ironically left and came back if I remember correctly. But you get the point. There's youngsters about, isn't it? So they do clearly. I do think they could rely on their academy a bit more, but they clearly have some sort of thingy in it. So if I was him, I don't know, man, because I'd assume he's training with the first team, or he gets brought in on sessions by Tuchel to train with them and things like that. but you're still not part of the team. You're still not making chances. And if they did, a promise is a comfort to a fool, and a promise is just a promise. And the club's always going to say what they want for you to sign. But you've got to be thinking what could have been. Now, hopefully, he gets chances, and there's actually talk of him going on loan. He's been offered to Napoli, Valencia, and stuff like that. I'm not too sure if he's at that level yet, but potentially a loan, maybe staying in his homeland and things like that could be of benefit. I'd actually like us to. It probably, I mean, we'll be paying through the nose now, but I'd actually like us to try and inquire again, to be fair with you, and see what could be done if we can get him on a permanent basis between January and the summer, because he should have joined us and he kind of bottled it. But what is there to say, man? You're seeing a couple players go out on loan as well. You've seen definitely someone else has gone on loan, but you've seen Weah go on loan to Celtic. Pardon me. Another one who got more opportunities but still found them hard to come by, ironically. Like, it's tough, to be honest with you, my guys, man. But hopefully he can prove people wrong, and I want to see him make chances happen for himself at PSG, and hopefully he gets opportunities, because he will take them, because I do think he's got a lot of potential, in my humble opinion. There's a lot of good academy players at PSG, his age, just below, and slightly younger than that, but we'll see what happens. But for now, anyways, people, deluded. Can't even see it. Get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest. I'm out. Thank you for watching.